not go outside of your house if you don't have to. It's about staying safe. It's about making sure only essential businesses are out. And as we talked about today, it's about taking care of yourself mentally and physically.
Absolutely. Abby's question kind of touched on this, but perhaps one last time, I don't think anyone can hear it enough. Maybe your final message to San Diegans heading into the weekend, because we really need to hit home.
Yeah, it will be. It's a great question. Thank you. Final message is keep it up, San Diego. Keep doing what you're doing. We're seeing it work, even though it's difficult. But the actions that families are taking,
I'm Maya Trabulsi, and you've been watching a special news conference from San Diego city officials about the coronavirus. We will bring you the latest news on this crisis next on Evening Edition. Good evening. It's Friday, April 3rd. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and we are broadcasting remotely tonight. You could call it the changing face of the coronavirus. As San Diego County surpasses 1,000 cases, new rules to stop its spread are taking effect, and they involve wearing masks. And sadly, another local death. A man in his late 70s died from the virus, bringing the county's total to 17. KPBS reporter John Carroll has the latest.
After announcing that the county surpassed 1,000 cases of coronavirus, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher then turned to the public health regulations announced Thursday.
First, essential businesses must post by Tuesday morning their physical distancing and sanitation policies. The employees of those essential businesses will start having to wear facial coverings as of midnight tonight. And there was an addition to those essential businesses. After a request from the Restaurant Association, restaurants are now included. Fletcher then tried to clarify the strong recommendation from the county that all of us start wearing facial coverings in public.
We have not issued a legal mandate or requirement that you must wear them when you leave your home, but we are issuing a strong recommendation that you should. It has the potential to protect yourself, but perhaps more importantly, it has the potential to protect others.
We're here in the Sacramento area.
Governor Gavin Newsom's Friday news conference was held at a place meant to underline his focus today, a Sacramento motel that's now housing some 30 homeless people. The governor reminded Californians that homelessness has long been a major issue for California. Newsom says the major effort to get homeless people off the streets is not only about getting them shelter at a time when homeless people are especially vulnerable to the virus, it's also meant to take the pressure off hospitals and homeless shelters in areas like San Diego, where homelessness is a major issue. With Sacramento's mayor by his side, Newsom then pivoted to framing the dual problems of homelessness and the virus as an opportunity to take a giant leap towards solving the homeless crisis.
All the new templates that we have just engaged in the last few weeks include purchase options, so that the state of California can help support through philanthropy, local government support, the opportunity to purchase these sites so we can look more long-term as this being part of our panoply of solutions to address the homeless crisis.
Newsom says nearly 6,900 hotel and motel rooms are now available across the state to shelter the homeless. That number will soon rise to 15,000. Estimates are that many thousands more will be needed.
The governor always tries to include something positive in his daily briefings. Today, he praised the contribution from celebrity chef Jose Andres. Through his World Central Kitchen, the chef is working with restaurateurs across the state to provide 3 meals a day to all the people at homeless sites in California. John Carroll, KPBS News.
The U.S. has crossed another dark milestone. More than 6,000 people have died from the coronavirus. This comes as several state leaders issue warnings that critical medical systems are at a breaking point. Dr. Anthony Fauci says all states should have stay-at-home orders, but that's not yet the case. Camila Bernal has the latest from Washington.
As the coronavirus death toll continues to rise, U.S. health officials and state leaders across the country are urging a stronger response to the outbreak.
Every state is saying the same thing. I need help. I need assistance.
Though President Donald Trump has said he does not plan to issue a nationwide stay-at-home order, nearly all states have done so. The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, questioning those that have yet to do so.
I just don't understand why we're not doing that. We really should be.
But Americans are coming together to help, and many making masks to protect themselves. Dr. Fauci stressing that they can be supplemental, but are not a substitute for social distancing.
So this is an addendum and an addition to the physical separation, not as a substitute for it.
Meanwhile, the American economy losing more jobs in 1 month than it had since 2009 during the Great Recession.
People are hurting. How are they going to pay the rent? How are they going to pay the mortgage?
In March, the economy shed 701,000 jobs, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the unemployment rate inching up to 4.4%. This as Americans likely won't begin to see direct payments from the coronavirus stimulus bill until at least April 13, and it could take 20 weeks for all the checks to be mailed. In Washington, Camila Bernal, KPBS News.
Grocers throughout San Diego are scrambling to comply with the county's order that all retail workers begin wearing facial coverings by midnight. But KPBS reporter Sharma says that's easier said than done.
The amendments to San Diego County's public health order came down yesterday.
Effective midnight on Friday, an order will go into a place that is strongly recommending the public follow the state's guidance on facial coverings.
County officials are now strongly recommending that people wear facial coverings when they go out, and they are requiring grocery workers and other retail employees to wear them. Dave Halen, the spokesman for the California Grocers Association, says it's a tall order.
Asking us to secure thousands of masks within a day is a rather large challenge. We're doing everything that we can. I've talked with several of our members down in the San Diego area, and they're doing everything that they can, but I will be honest, it is a real challenge.
Halen says stores have already put in place a long list of measures to protect customers and employees, including limiting the number of people that can be in the store at one time, and in many cases, putting up plexiglass barriers between cashiers and customers. But they need the county to step up.
We're just hoping that the county will be willing to work with us to be able to solve this. We need their help.
Halen says they're hoping that help will come before tonight's deadline. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
Oceanside will close all public beaches at midnight tonight. It's one of the last beaches in the county to remain open, though parking lots were already closed. Coronado announced that it will close on the weekends but remain open during the week. Officials in Chula Vista urged residents to continue following the city's shelter-in-place order and said that the police department would be cracking down on violators. KPBS reporter Max Rivlin-Nadler has the story.
At a press conference outside of police headquarters, officials said the second largest city in the county is going to be taking social distancing and coronavirus safety measures a lot more seriously in the coming days. Chula Vista Police Chief Roxana Kennedy, who stood alongside Mayor Mary Salas, said that the city's public safety order would be entering a new phase.
In the city of Chula Vista, we are moving from an educational phase to an enforcement phase immediately. Please do your part so that our officers don't have to be put in a position to take enforcement action against you.
Police officers will now give warnings to people they see not maintaining social distancing and congregating in large groups, and then cite them if they continue to break the city's public safety order. Police Chief Kennedy said these violations are misdemeanors and punishable by a $1,000 fine or imprisonment. Officials also discussed how residents should call 211 if they see that non-essential businesses remain open or essential workers are not wearing face covering. Officials also gave an update on Chula Vista City Councilman Steve Padilla, who had been in the intensive care unit after he tested positive for coronavirus. After 11 days on a respirator, Padilla is now out of the ICU and on the mend, and says he'll be discharged from the hospital soon.
I can't emphasize how happy we were to hear that Steve made it out of this. And it also underscores the immense importance that we follow all directives. We wouldn't want this to happen to our families.
Padilla said on Twitter Friday that he was grateful for the doctors, nurses, and staff at UCSD's Thornton Hospital who cared for him. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
The Del Mar Fairgrounds turned into a drive-through food distribution center today for families struggling during this crisis. Before it even opened this morning, there was a long line of people waiting. The San Diego Food Bank says it had enough supplies to serve 1,000 families. Each package was filled with canned goods and other non-perishables, as well as fresh fruits and veggies. In order to follow social distancing guidelines, the food was placed directly in the trunk.
Before the crisis, we were feeding about 350,000 people a month, but now we know the lines are getting longer. There's way more people in need. But the good news is the infrastructure is there.
And the food bank says it will try to do events like these more frequently to cut down on the long lines. Tonight, our partners at iNewsSource bring you the story of one military family in San Diego that has firsthand experience with the coronavirus. Lindsay Hartman and her Marine husband tested positive, and her mother got sick. iNewsSource reporter Mary Plummer has their story.
Lindsay Hartman took to Facebook to share her experience with COVID-19. After the 38-year-old tested positive, her mother, her husband, and the couple's 2 toddler sons isolated inside their 1,200 square foot home in Linda Vista.
Welcome back to my video diary of our coronavirus experience. It's like I'm walking like a little old lady, just feel like I can't stand up straight. Today we're just getting dizzy, lightheaded. We are all coughing incessantly. I have been sicker than I have ever been in my life, and more fatigued, just really, having a hard time with the symptoms.
Hartman and I spoke recently after her symptoms had lessened. Her husband also recently tested positive. Her mother was presumed positive, but never tested. While all 3 of the adults were sick, they had to juggle care for the kids.
Life goes on for the children. They still need 3 square meals a day and, certain care. And it is really hard caring for young children when you're ill.
Test shortages have led San Diego County officials not to test everyone who has symptoms. Those living with someone who's tested positive are generally assumed to have the virus. Hartman says she hopes people will take social distancing seriously.
I think that I did not think that this was as serious as it was when I got it. And, I've just been telling people this is not a trivial sickness. I have been sicker than I've ever been in my life. And I've had the flu and I've had other illnesses, but nothing like this. And I just hope that people start taking it more seriously.
Hartman and her mom are now out of isolation. Her husband is not fully recovered. For KPBS, I'm iNewsSource reporter Mary Plummer.
And for more on this story, you can go to iNewsSource.org. And iNewsSource is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS. The fired Navy captain of the USS Theodore Roosevelt received a warm send-off from his crew.
Now that's how you send out one of the greatest captains you ever had.
Captain Brett Crozer was relieved of his command yesterday after sending a stern letter to Navy leadership pleading for help for his crew battling the coronavirus. The Navy's acting secretary says the letter was sent out of the chain of command. More than 100 sailors on the San Diego-based carrier have tested positive for the virus. About 3,000 crew members are being evacuated in Guam. The Metropolitan Transit System is making changes to its fare policies in an effort to protect drivers from the spread of the coronavirus. Earlier this week, MTS eliminated cash fare payments on buses and has instructed able-bodied passengers to board via the rear doors. Ridership has dropped by roughly 70% since the pandemic began. MTS is still carrying up to 100,000 passengers every day. And we're following all of the latest coronavirus developments for you at kpbs.org. Just click on the Tracking COVID-19 link on our homepage, and then you'll be taken to another page that has all of our recent reports. You can find that right now at kpbs.org. We now know for sure that the next mayor of San Diego will be a Democrat. The election results are final, and State Assemblyman Todd Gloria and Councilwoman Barbara Bree will face each other in the runoff this November. KBS reporter Claire Tregesser talks about what's next.
Let's get back to work tomorrow. I thank you, San Diego. Thank you, Democrats.
On election night, it was clear State Assemblyman Todd Gloria was headed to the runoff in November. He had about 40% of the vote. But who his opponent would be was not at all clear. Republican Councilman Scott Sherman appeared to have won the second spot. But as votes continued to be counted over the following weeks, he lost his lead. Now, with election results finalized, we know another Democrat, Councilwoman Barbara Bree, made the runoff. In a message to supporters, she says, "We are entering uncharted waters, and more than ever, our city needs competent, experienced, and independent leadership to navigate the challenges we face." Gloria also wrote in a message that these times are uncertain and confusing, but we have faced challenging times before. Together, we persevered. Both candidates will have to navigate campaigning with normal activities like debates, house parties, and door knocking being discouraged because of the coronavirus pandemic. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
Bill Withers, the singer-songwriter behind iconic songs like Lean on Me and Ain't No Sunshine, has died. His family says he died from heart complications. Withers grew up in West Virginia and overcame a stutter as a child to become a Grammy Award-winning singer. He was 81 years old. And we should enjoy the sunshine while it lasts because rain is on the radar. Justin Pavic has our forecast.
Now, some changes coming up as we go throughout the next couple of days. At least in the short term, we're going to be talking about near normal temperatures, cloudy start on Saturday, but we're going to be looking at rain arriving early next week. And again, some of that can be on the soaking side, going from Monday right into potentially midweek. At least in the short term, again, once the clouds again burn off tomorrow, we will see some breaks of sunshine back into the picture. Again, talking about those low temperatures for tonight. Again, Oceanside 51, San Diego down to 56. Again, clouds at the immediate shoreline. Out east toward Ramona 41, and around Mount Laguna dropping down to 40 degrees. Some sunshine again around Mount Laguna 54 for tomorrow to kick off the weekend. But again, morning clouds along the immediate coastline. San Diego tops off at 66, so close to normal. Still dry, again, even into Sunday and Sunday night. Then on Monday, we'll start to see low pressure make its move off to the south and to the east, and we'll start to see the impacts here, especially Monday night into Tuesday and even into Wednesday. I'll step out of the way so you can see, again, this low pressure making its move in our direction. And again, this is going to bring a long period, a little unusual for April, of rain, even some high mountain snow. Again, going late Sunday night, especially Monday through Thursday. And again, talking about some of the heavier rain totals in the mountainous terrain. Again, even Mount Laguna, we're going to be talking about some mainly wet conditions with the temperatures here climbing into the upper 30s and lower 40s. So those snow levels will be high, but the potential here for some soaking rain as we head into early next week. Here's the forecast at the coast. Here comes the rain along with some wind Monday, Tuesday, and additionally heading into Wednesday as we talk about inland zones. A couple of showers early on Sunday, but the steadier rains come into play early to midweek. Similar situation over the mountainous terrain Tuesday into Wednesday. High snow levels, and over the deserts, we'll see rain moving in early week as well. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Pavic.
A San Diego company is one of the 6 ventilator manufacturers covered by President Trump's Defense Production Act order. ResMed's CEO announced plans last week to double or possibly even triple its output ventilators. The president said his order would remove obstacles in the supply chain so companies can ramp up production. Engineers and doctors across the country are racing to build and fix ventilators as the number of people with COVID-19 climbs. KPBS science and technology reporter Shalina Chatlani spoke to UC San Diego faculty leading an effort locally.
A robotic lung at the UC San Diego campus wheezes as it pushes air in and out.
One of the things that we're doing is taking current capacity, what we have now, in the way of ventilators, and then trying to maximize the capacity by using one ventilator for multiple patients.
Lonnie Peterson is a physician at UC San Diego. She says the demand for ventilators is going up, so they're testing out prototypes.
Now is that we have 2 mechanical lungs, and we're trying to make sure that we can safely use one ventilator.
There has been some anecdotal evidence that this has been used in Italy
And in New York, the Governor Cuomo was saying that they're trying this 2-patient per 1 ventilator approach, but it is unclear as to whether that's been successful. It's likely that that indicates more about the desperation of the situation rather than whether it's actually a reasonably good approach to this sort of issue.
Peterson and engineer James Friend are trying to test safety features for these ventilators and have also been looking at turning manual ventilators, like this one, into an automatic ventilator by hooking it up to a machine.
Roughly 10,000 ventilators are needed in California. 4,500 have been found. Another 5,500 have to be obtained. And so there's a comprehensive effort from identification of ventilators sitting in warehouses. Old ventilators have been dragged out of retirement.
Peterson says completing the ventilator splitter project is particularly challenging because ventilators typically self-adjust based on one patient's condition.
They constantly adjust the amount of air and the pressure it's delivered at to that specific patient's need. That makes it very good for the patient. It complicates matters a lot when you try to divide it between 2 patients.
These scientists say they are pushing prototypes through proper clearance channels and hope they can make a difference. Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.
A 95% drop. That's how the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting air travel in the U.S. TSA says fewer than 125,000 people were screened at the nation's airports on Thursday. The same day last year had 2.5 million. Travel is just one industry hurting right now. Another is retail. And SDSU's Miro Kopik weighed in on the for today's Friday Business Report.
The numbers today are not quite accurate because they don't account for the last 2 weeks of 10 million unemployment claims. So economists are projecting that in the April numbers, which will be announced on May the 8th, that the unemployment rate might shoot up from the 4.4% that was announced today to north of 10%. And one of the sectors that's been particularly hit hard is retail. Macy's this week announced that beginning April the 1st, they were furloughing 125,000 workers. And this kind of is a bigger question about what's going to happen to retail overall, because as consumers, as most consumers are sheltering at home, they're buying their products online. And so behaviors are going to change. The longer people will be sheltered in place, the more ingrained some of those behaviors will be. For example, we know that through the end of 2019, about 13% of total retail sales come from online sales. But you might see when we come out of this whole crisis that number may jump to 15 or 20% as more consumers are more comfortable buying online. Traditional retailers like Macy's, like Kohl's, like The Gap are going to have problems.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, one-on-one with Dr. Anthony Fauci with the latest on the response to COVID-19. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
As with many theaters, the San Diego Rep has had to close its doors because of health concerns about the coronavirus pandemic. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando explains how the theater company is going online with its production of House of Joy.
The San Diego Rep's production of House of Joy looks to 17th century India, where a group of elite female guards protect the emperor's imperial harem. The production had its opening night and closing performance on March 11th. But fortunately, a video of an earlier dress rehearsal had been shot, and now the play has a chance to reach an audience online, says director Sam Woodhouse.
It's an interesting transition for us because we, like many theaters in America, our business is gathering people together into a room to be close together, as someone said, to join hands in the dark, and to experience something together, to share a story. Well, the very core of our traditional business is currently not possible. We cannot do that. So we have become a media company, like many other theaters have, where we are distributing content via the web.
I believe you said something about being the best fighter in the regiment.
Seeing House of Joy as a video is not the same experience as going to the theater, but audiences can still appreciate the inspiring story, gorgeous production design, and impressive fight choreography.
It's so fascinating to watch a professional fight choreographer come in and to help inspire these women to bond together through combat. There's nothing like fighting with sticks and smacking sticks with each other that bonds people together, and I've never seen it done with only women. And it's all about them being threatened and bonding together to fight for their sisters.
The Rep has no other new shows it can stream, and that's a concern for Woodhouse, who also serves as the Rep's artistic director.
It's quite scary. It's quite deeply threatening to our stability and viability as an institution, as a business, because we cannot conduct our core business. And we're not really a media company. We're just acting like one right now. It poses a direct threat to the very core of our business. Now, the other side of that answer is the theater is the place that all optimists flock to. And people who come to the theater believe in the power of people coming together to make something out of nothing. And that's what we do whenever we start a play. There's nothing there, there's words on a page, and we make a piece of theater. So that energy still exists and is right now driven into planning and sharing that planning and sharing what we're working on for the future. So we're optimistic, we're cautious, and we want to try to be as safe as we can.
Patrons can buy virtual tickets to House of Joy and watch it online now through April 12th. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
An update now on our top story. As San Diego County surpasses 1,000 cases, new rules to stop its spread are taking effect. And sadly, another local death. A man in his late 70s died from the virus, bringing the county total to 17. The county has ordered that all retail workers begin wearing facial coverings by midnight tonight. It's also strongly recommended that everyone cover their nose and mouth with a scarf or cloth mask when in public. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe and good night.